Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm absolutely delighted you've joined me today because we're diving into something that touches every single one of us. How to stay positive and motivated, especially when life throws its inevitable curveballs our way. Now, before we begin, I want you to know that this isn't going to be another fluffy, just think happy thoughts sort of chat. We're going to get real about the genuine struggles we face and explore practical, evidence-based strategies that actually work. So grab a cuppa, settle in, and let's embark on this journey together.
You know, I've been thinking about this topic for weeks now, and it struck me how often we're told to stay positive, as if it's some sort of switch we can simply flip on command. The truth is, maintaining positivity and motivation isn't about pretending everything's brilliant when it clearly isn't. It's about developing resilience, finding meaning in our struggles, and creating sustainable habits that support our mental well-being. Let me start with a story that really resonates with me. A few months ago, I was chatting with a friend who'd been made redundant from a job she absolutely loved. She was devastated, naturally, and kept saying, "Everyone tells me to stay positive, but how can I when everything feels so uncertain?" That conversation really got me thinking about the difference between toxic positivity and genuine, sustainable optimism.
First things first, let's talk about what motivation actually is. Many people think motivation is this magical feeling that strikes like lightning, propelling us towards our goals with endless energy. But here's the thing. Motivation isn't a feeling that comes and goes. It's a practice, a skill we can develop and strengthen over time. Think of motivation like a muscle. When you first start going to the gym, lifting weights feels impossibly difficult. But with consistent practice, what once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable, then easy, then you're looking for heavier weights. Motivation works exactly the same way. The key is understanding that we don't need to feel motivated to take action. We can take action to create motivation. This might sound backwards, but it's absolutely revolutionary when you truly grasp it. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation.
Let's talk about something I call micro-commitments. These are tiny, almost laughably small actions that move you towards your goals. The beauty of micro-commitments is that they're so small, they bypass our brain's resistance entirely. For instance, if you want to start exercising but can't face a full workout, commit to putting on your trainers. That's it. Just put them on. Often, you'll find that once you've got your trainers on, you might as well step outside. And once you're outside, you might as well walk to the end of the street. Before you know it, you've completed a 20-minute walk. This isn't about tricking yourself. It's about understanding how our brains work. We're wired to resist big changes, but small ones slip right past our mental barriers. Start ridiculously small and build from there.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room, failure. Our relationship with failure is often what determines whether we stay motivated or give up entirely. Most of us have been conditioned to see failure as something to avoid at all costs. But what if I told you that's completely backwards? Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a stepping stone to success. Every single person you admire has failed more times than you've probably even tried. The difference is They didn't let failure define them. They let it teach them. I love the Japanese concept of nana korobi yaoki, fall 7 times, rise 8. It's not about never falling, it's about always getting back up. When you shift your perspective to see failure as feedback rather than a verdict, everything changes. Start collecting your failures like badges of honor. Keep a failure journal where you write down what didn't work and what you learnt from it. You'll be amazed at how this simple practice transforms your relationship with setbacks.
Here's something most people overlook entirely. Your environment shapes your behavior far more than your willpower does. If you want to stay positive and motivated, you need to design an environment that supports these states naturally. This goes beyond just keeping your space tidy, though that certainly helps. Think about the people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in. Are they lifting you up or dragging you down? I had to make some difficult decisions about relationships that were consistently negative. It wasn't about cutting people off harshly, but rather about protecting my mental space and energy for the things and people that truly matter. Create what I call inspiration anchors in your physical space. Quotes that resonate with you, photos that remind you of your goals, books that inspire you. These visual cues work on a subconscious level to keep you aligned with your positive intentions.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh no, not another lecture about gratitude. Stay with me here, because I'm not talking about generic gratitude practices that feel forced and hollow. Real gratitude isn't about pretending to be thankful for things that genuinely upset you. It's about training your brain to notice what's already working in your life. Our brains have a negativity bias. They're literally wired to spot problems and threats. This was helpful when we were dodging saber-toothed tigers, but it's less useful in modern life. Try this. Instead of listing things you're grateful for, ask yourself, what went surprisingly well today? Or what was better than I expected? This shifts your focus to positive surprises and helps rewire your brain to notice the good stuff. Here's a game changer. Research shows that making progress on meaningful work is the single most important factor in maintaining motivation day after day. Not big breakthroughs, not dramatic victories, just consistent, measurable progress. This is why I'm such a huge advocate for tracking systems. Find a way to measure and record your progress, no matter how small. Whether it's a simple tick on a calendar, a note in your phone, or a proper tracking app, the act of recording progress creates a positive feedback loop that fuels motivation. But here's the crucial bit. Make sure you're measuring the right things. Don't just track outcomes. Track the behaviors that lead to outcomes. If your goal is to lose weight, don't just track the number on the scales. Track how many days you exercised, how many healthy meals you ate, how much water you drank. These are things within your control.
Motivation isn't a solo sport. The most consistently positive and motivated people have strong support systems, not just people who cheer them on, but people who hold them accountable and challenge them to grow. Think about building 3 types of relationships: mentors who inspire you and guide your growth, peers who share your journey and understand your struggles, and mentees or people you can help, because teaching and giving back fuels our own motivation in powerful ways. Don't wait for these relationships to find you. Be intentional about cultivating them. Join communities, attend events, reach out to people you admire. Most people are more willing to help than you might think.
Here's something that completely changed my approach to motivation: managing energy, not just time. You can have all the time in the world, but without energy, you'll accomplish nothing. Pay attention to your natural rhythms. When do you feel most energetic? When do you tend to crash? Schedule your most important work during your peak energy times and protect those periods fiercely. But energy isn't just about sleep and caffeine. Emotional energy, mental energy, and physical energy all affect each other. If you're emotionally drained from a difficult conversation, that impacts your ability to tackle a challenging project. Start thinking holistically about what drains your energy and what restores it.
Finally, let's talk about perhaps the most powerful motivator of all: meaning. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, wrote that we can endure almost anything if we can find meaning in it. This doesn't mean everything that happens to us is good or fair, but it means we have the power to create meaning from our experiences. Ask yourself regularly, why does this matter? How does this challenge serve my growth? What can I learn from this situation that might help others facing similar struggles? When you connect your daily actions to a larger purpose, motivation becomes less about fleeting feelings and more about deep commitment.
As we wrap up today's conversation, I want to leave you with this thought. Staying positive and motivated isn't about maintaining constant happiness or never feeling discouraged. It's about developing the skills and systems that help you bounce back quickly when you do get knocked down. Remember, this is a practice, not a destination. Some days will be easier than others, and that's perfectly normal. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. I'd love to hear from you in the comments about which of these strategies resonates most with you, or if you have techniques that have worked well in your own life. We're all in this together, learning and growing as we go. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, remember, you're more resilient than you think, more capable than you know, and more supported than you might realize. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.